Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT Show. I am MKT, and the show is named after me, and that feels great. Again, a lot of people probably wondering, this guy, his ego. You better damn believe it. I'm not alone. By the way, I had a message. What does MKT stand for? It stands for Mbulelo Kayaletu Tinta, which is my name. And there is a reason why I go full name. It is my dad has the same name, and everybody keeps Googling me. And they go, oh, you're a chemical engineer. I am not, James. I am not. Not quite dumb enough to get into AFTA, but not smart enough to be a chemical engineer. I'm not alone. My guy, James Illingsley, is with me. James, what are you saying, pal?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Wednesday. Almost made it through this week.
Yeah.
Since starting here, I actually haven't felt like I've had a job, if I'm honest. Like, coming here doesn't feel like I have a job.
Yeah. Hey,
It's
great
great.
music. Let's kill that music.
Let's do
Great
that.
bed music. It's good industry production levels here, you know?
I mean, look, we're often late.
Late. What does that mean on YouTube? What is that even a word?
I think millennials don't know what late is.
No, millennials need a safe space. You just like no feedback. I want to do whatever I want to do. I want to burn down a city. I'm expressing myself.
That's quite intense.
Yeah.
That is.
Hey,
That's the way the world's going.
You're a millennial, huh, James?
I am just short.
Of?
I think millennials ended 96 or 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just
Yeah.
below the mark there.
Okay. So how old are you now, James?
24.
24.
20.
That's lit.
It's a lit family.
So, James, what are you saying? You and your great beard, what are you up to this weekend? What's going on? James's girlfriend lives miles away from him. Probably a good thing for her. But, James, what are you saying? Are you guys meeting up? Are you meeting a family? What's the story?
This weekend, playing football on Friday. Super excited.
Oh, yeah?
Trying to lose weight, so that's a thing.
All right. So, she should. So, how do you want to do the weight thing? We can do it one of two ways. You can be shamed into it.
All right.
By the beloved listeners, or are you just gonna make it a task? What are you gonna?
I think I've done a relatively good job
Of?
of sort of sticking to healthier foods. So I don't think shaming would work so well.
Okay.
My brother is convinced that I do Uber Eats every night.
Okay.
And I have done since I've moved out, which is not the case though.
All right. So where did the extra weight come from?
I think lockdown and
Oh, it's
not
gonna
being
get you.
active.
Yeah. That's tough.
I hate to be that guy that blames it on lockdown, but
No, but it's hey, that's tough. I mean, plus, what you were living by yourself, or was your lady living with you? Were your family?
so I went. I think like a week before. Like the day that people found out that Cyril was going to speak in a week and all of that stuff to tell us that we were going to lockdown for 3 weeks. My mom phoned me and she was like, "Why don't you come and work remotely by us?"
Okay.
So I went down to the Eastern Cape, in Jeffreys Bay, and I stayed with them until August.
So
and
it wasn't 3 weeks.
No, because lockdown was supposed to be 3 weeks, and then it
Oh, okay.
It
It ended
became
up
a-
being half a year.
it did.
But that's gonna hurt you because you're stuck at home with mom, and she's constantly cooking. It's like you were living at a buffet, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough on anybody. I don't
and-
care who you think you are.
My mom learned how to make cheesecake,
Oh,
and she knows I absolutely adore it. So there was that within the first week of being there.
so that's what gets you, huh? Cheesecake. Oh,
Oh,
cheesecake
I love
will
cheesecake
get you.
so much.
I mean, I don't love it, but
8% body
it
fat.
does look incredible.
Oh, it's incredible. My mom also made in that first week. I had cheesecake, and my mom makes an incredible lasagna.
Oh yeah.
So I also had that.
Or pasta. That's all calories, James.
Yeah.
And then and you couldn't exercise, or you didn't exercise because we couldn't go outside.
Yeah,
hey?
that's what I was about to say.
Stuck inside. There's food constantly cooking. Cheesecake in the fridge. Oh, that's tough. All right, but look, you're gonna sort it out, huh?
I am. I'm sticking to healthy things. I don't think I've had takeaway in a very long time.
I'll probably shame you into it. I mean, because I care. Like from what you've told me, you really like your girlfriend. I want you to stay with her. From what you've said, I haven't met her yet. She's probably a beautiful lady, a nice person. I want her to be with somebody who she deserves as well. So I'll shame you into it. I'll find a way.
You probably will.
I will shame you into it. I have absolutely no regrets about it. Thanks in advance. All right, Jimbo, let's get into what we're talking about today. We got Aguero. Of course, we all heard the news over the last 48 hours. He will be leaving Man City. It is official. I'll give you my thoughts on what that means for him, what it says about the manager, and I think overall what it says about Man City. Lewandowski's injured. Now, I'm a bit of a Bayern Munich fan, and by a bit, I mean big time. My favorite player of all time coming from there, and actually my cult following of football stemming from Stefan Effenberg. So I have my feelings on that. And Reguilon, if you are a Spurs fan, he's injured as well, by the way. International duty. Give you my thoughts on what that means and why it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then we'll finish off. We're going to talk a little bit about the weirdest injuries that's ever happened in football, or sort of misgivings, or things that have happened to footballers. We'll chat a little bit about that as well. And then Liverpool, they've got a decision to make. Mo Salah, again talking about Spain. Again, he spoke about Barcelona before. He spoke about these great clubs before. I'll give you my thoughts and we'll get into it. Of course, Jimbo is a massive, massive Liverpool fan, so we'll get his take as well on that. You are, huh, James?
I am very, very big. Even
very big.
Through the hard times.
Yeah, 30 years. Before you were born. Actually, you inherited the trauma.
I did.
Yeah.
So what happened was, and this is a story my brother tells me, I'm not sure how true it is. He says that my dad went to England, and then when he came back, he brought us back football shirts. And he gave my older brother the Man United shirt, which was the team that he supports.
Okay.
And then he gave the younger child, being me, the Liverpool shirt. And that's where and I remember being madly infatuated with Michael Owen.
Okay.
When he was a Liverpool star, and then Steven Gerrard.
Oh, Stevie G, huh?
Stevie G.
Listen, he certainly is he the greatest Liverpool player of all time? That's tough, huh?
It is, because you got Kenny, Ian Rush, you got Xabi Alonso, you got Fernando Torres had a great career there. So
that's tough.
It's hard work.
It's tough. I'm not going to make you choose right now, but we'll talk a little bit about maybe should your guy be replaced? Are you ready to move off? And we'll talk a little bit about that. A little bit later. All right, let's get into it.
Before we do,
go ahead.
We do have a tweet on the Twitter. We have posted it with a question there. Just asking the listeners what their weirdest football injuries are.
Okay, so they can go over to Cliff C Sport on the Tweet Monster.
Yes.
You can tweet that to us, hashtag the MKT Show Live. Use that hashtag, by the way.
Yes.
When you are tweeting to us, and then we'll be able to find it ASAP. Stat. All right. Well,
lit fam
indeed. Let's get lit. Let's get into it. Aguero, he's off. I mean, he is undoubtedly one of the greatest strikers in Premier League history. I don't think anybody can doubt that. I don't think you can speak against that. But before we get into that, I want to get into this. All right, listen. Dynasties in anything, business, life, families. I mean, families can be dynasties, right? You know of businesses that are owned 4th, 5th generation. They're impossible to come across. There's a reason why there's only one Amazon, one Microsoft. Everybody has the same resources. By the way, there's lots of rich kids in the world that could have become Bill Gates. Lots of rich kids in the world that could have become Elon Musk. But dynasties are impossible. Because let me tell you why. Alpha egos, that's male and female, is they need to be tamed and they need to be given direction. Now, what you need is the alpha leader, right, who is also willing to do something else. You've got to be autocratic. And to be an autocrat means you cannot care about how people feel. The mission needs to be clear, and everybody needs to leave their ego at home. The great Bill Belichick, of course, who's run the greatest American dynasty in sport of all time, he says, leave your ego at home. You know, a lot of people say, check your ego at the door. Belichick says, leave your ego at home, because some people go, oh, I left my ego at the door. Let me turn around and go get it. Belichick says, I don't want any of that. This is what the great dynastic leaders, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, all of the great guys of our time have to be an autocrat. Now, nobody likes it, but it's the way it is. And I'll tell you, Fergie, Shankly, Phil Jackson, John Buchanan, if you're an Australian cricket fan, all the same. What do they have in common? Nobody cares about Kenny Dalglish, right? Paisley, you talk about Shankly. Nobody cared who was playing in the Liverpool team. It was his team. Fergie, we know. Phil Jackson, we know. You know, he had Michael Jordan, but he still had that on a leash to the point where Jordan left without him because Michael Jordan understood what it took to win. Buchanan, I mean, that Australian cricket team, 90s and noughties, is the most dominant, possibly sporting team of all time. Nothing was that. 3 World Cups later, Buchanan won 2 of those. They were unstoppable. I know it sounds counterproductive, but you need an autocrat. That is not an option. All right? Longevity, by the way, and, you know, we all make this mistake in relationships. Everybody wants credit. My old man always says to me, the world is a better place when people do their jobs and they don't expect credit for it. Now, we live in a different time. Everybody now wants a well done and an appreciation, and everybody wants to be on a blog and says, go and find a workspace that appreciates you. Listen, that's cool, right? That's nice. We can all do marketing and we can all do drum circles at home. If you want to win, though, winning's not for everybody. It never has been. It never will be. If you want to win, there has to be a brutality. And longevity is a what have you done for me lately business. It is nothing else other than that. The world is in trouble. Pep Guardiola is building a dynasty. How do I know that? Folks, it is the fans' job to love players, but it is the manager's job to like players. That is not the same thing. So it is the fans' job, essentially, if you're in a relationship, you want to marry somebody, it is the manager's job to always be dating a new girl or a new guy every 4 or 5 years. The manager should never fall in love with his players. Again, go back to Fergie. Ruud van Nistelrooy, you start acting up, get the hell out. Jaap Stam, get the hell out. David Beckham at his peak, get the hell out. That's the kind of brutality you need. And Man City have never had that. And now they've got it all. I've said to you on this show before, every winning club needs 3 things. Number 1, you need deep pockets in the ownership, and they must not interfere in anything. Boom. Tick that off for Man City. Number 2, you need the great manager. There's probably only 2 or 3 great managers currently managing. They have that one. Boom. Tick. They need the captain, and they've got him now. I mean, they've got 2 or 3 captains at Man City. I think Kevin De Bruyne, possibly not the guy, but Fernandinho is still there running that ship. So for me, you've got all 3 of those. Man City are going to be unstoppable because when you have ruthless leadership, now they don't care about Aguero. They don't care about anybody else. Move on. It's about the club. Bayern Munich, Barcelona. Those 2 are the examples worldwide of longevity. For me, at long last, Man City have figured it out. I've always said this. In life, for me, and I'm not for everyone, I always say, move on from anything a year early. I would rather move on from a bad relationship and see you with another person a year early than a year late. I never want to resent people or things in my life. Let it go. But our emotions always tell us, it was so good 5 years ago, 3 years ago. We can recapture that. When things go sour in life, have the self-confidence to move on. Great leadership has this, and it's so rare. Move on a year early. Bill Belichick's rule. Move on a year too early rather than a year too late. And how many football clubs do we see where guys stay on into their 30s, 31, 32? Oh, we can make him that again. And before you know it, you're 5, 6 places relegated. And you're Arsenal, right? Arsenal kept their players far too long. What was Ozil doing there that long? That's far too long. Aubameyang, they should have moved on last year when you started seeing the signs. I think they made a mistake with Pepe. You saw after the sort of 2 seasons, move on. But they're going to keep him because they got no self-awareness or self-confidence. Listen, Aguero's an all-timer. He's an all-timer. But the rule in life, again, what have you done for me lately? And in that world, by the way, I always say the rule is pay production, not talent. Folks, we are so bad, all of us in our lives, and I include myself here, I'm terrible at it. If I see something, for instance, dating somebody because they're good looking, and not that person that you want to be with, that's very easy to do, right? It's very, very easy to do. Again, there you're paying talent and not production. But are they reliable, right? If you're getting married to somebody, are they reliable? Are they going to pick the kids up on time, right? Are they going to go to work on time? Are they going to not drink on a Sunday? These are things that matter. Pay production, not talent. Sergio Aguero for the last 2 seasons, I'm afraid, that ain't it. Injured. The greatest ability is availability. I don't care what kind of legend he is for Man City. What have you done for me lately? Aguero over the last 2 seasons is what he is. He is a legendary player who cannot stay fit. It is not Pep Guardiola's job to fall in love with Sergio Aguero. It is Pep Guardiola's job to fall in love with winning. And you've got to be willing to move on in life. And folks, if you're sitting there, there are people in horrible relationships and they don't know how to move on because it's brutal, right? You love this person. They love you. It's complicated. But you've got to move on, and it's brutal. There is no winning. There is no nice way to break up with people, by the way. There is no seminar and maturity class you're going to go to. But this is what greatness takes. Pep Guardiola is telling you, I'm in love with production, not talent. And that is how you get to dynasty. That's how you get to greatness. And that is why I believe Pep Guardiola is the greatest manager of all time, but certainly going right now. Is he does not care. Aguero is the biggest figure Man City have ever had. He's the greatest talent Man City have ever had. He is legendary, beyond legendary. He's transcendent by Man City standards. Pep Guardiola says, get the hell out. I've seen enough. Also, there's another factor. Folks, besides the injuries, Jesus is ready. I think Jesus is now ready to step into those shoes. I don't see the Haaland thing happening. And Pep, the great thing in life, folks, be ready when you move on to something. You must always change for the better. Don't change for the sake of change. And we're all guilty of this again. But my thing is, change for better. Don't change for the sake of change. Now they're changing because they got someone who's ready. You get rid of Aguero and you're trying to buy maybe 2 or 3 people to adjust to the Premier League. That ain't it. But they've got a guy. The incumbent can be shifted out. And Jesus is ready. He's Brazil's number 9, so he understands pressure. And you've seen that he's great. Pay production, not talent. Kudos, Pep Guardiola. Jimbo, I'm ready to move on from Aguero, and I love Aguero. I think he's top 3 greatest strikers in Premier League history. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Aguero has been exceptional for Man City. Like you say, one of the greatest strikers they've ever had, one of the greatest players they've ever had. You know, we've come through a time with Manchester City where we've seen this complete rebuilding of a squad after they were taken over by the by Sheikh Mansour, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And I think you know, he's done a good job to bring a player like Aguero into Man City during their rebuilding, and obviously Aguero's had a massive impact. There was that big game,
QPR.
yeah, where he scored that goal, and Martin Tyler's voice still to this day gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
Every time I watch it, and I can't stand City for the fact that they have the money that they've pumped into football and into the Premier League and how it's changed football. But that single clip and that single moment from Kun Aguero still to this day, absolute goosebumps. But I mean, you know, it's time to have new talent in the Premier League. Hopefully we can see players like Jadon Sancho in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think the Premier League's definitely missing prolific strikers at the moment.
It is, huh?
You know, we've gone through players like prime Wayne Rooney, prime Fernando Torres.
Drogba.
Yeah. Where are we now? You know, we've had Aguero. There's players that score goals weekly and they get the golden boot, but I don't know. It doesn't feel the same as prime Drogba, prime Anelka.
Do you think it's because the wingers now are scoring goals? Like if you look at Liverpool, they've been dominant. City are unique that they had Aguero. Listen, you're gonna if you have Aguero, he's gonna be the goals guy. So they've got more like Mahrez and Bernardo Silva, who are creative sort of hybrid 10 wingers, inverted wingers as they call them. But back in the day, you know, a Drogba and an Anelka, Van Persie, Rooney,
The target men strikers.
Van Nistelrooy, Berbatov. You're the guy that operates, I guess, Fox in the box style was more. We had that in our time. Do you think it's moved on, or do you think Aguero is like the last of a dying type?
I think he is, especially for the Premier League. I think, football, not just in the Premier League, but also in Europe's top 5 leagues, has changed dramatically with, the introduction of using left backs as left wing backs and right backs as right wing backs. You look at Andy Robertson and Alexander Arnold last season, 2 of the best wing backs in the world, arguably. I think football has changed, and I do think that Aguero was probably one of the last of a dying type, like you say, which is sad.
It is sad
because now you have this whole false 9 formation, and I mean, I don't hate it, but you don't have that.
Suarez. I mean, you had Suarez.
Suarez. We had that Suarez-Sterling Sturridge partnership.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was insane.
That was wild, huh? Actually, that may have been the future before now, because Suarez isn't like, or then, because he's a bit of a chunky lad now at Atletico, so he can't move as much as he could as Liverpool. But remember how he made Daniel Sturridge look like Pele for that season.
He did, and I never hated Daniel Sturridge. I thought he was a very good player, but he, like you said, made him look Ballon d'Or worthy.
Yeah. And Sturridge was, I think, that number 9, up front, tap it in, let Aguero, Suarez and Sterling do all the running around and that crazy work around the box.
And you know what amazed me about that whole setup that Liverpool had at that time was it was almost like Sturridge and Suarez were fully aware of where the other person was on the field. They were inside each other's heads.
Yeah.
They could play balls similarly to how Harry Kane does nowadays. Without even looking up, he knows
where Son is,
where Son is, where Dele Alli is, and that's what it was like.
Yeah.
With that front 3, it was incredible.
Yeah. I think Aguero. You know what? It's so. I think we've all been through, as we know, James's breakup was, obviously he dated an ice queen, but we've all been in relationships where, like, sometimes we know it's over, but we hang on to the romantic years.
Yeah.
And that's always terrible for both sides, because if they keep Aguero and his image fades, like, we want to remember him as that guy just banging goals in Man City. Leave it at that, because what I think that allows people to do is the myth grows then. Now you give the myth room to grow and be massive. If you force Aguero another 2 seasons, let's just say, and I think it's a great thing to move on, it becomes that relationship where, you know what, like a year, maybe you should have broken up with her or him a year ago, and you stay together for, I don't know, we get comfortable in life, right? And then it's resentment.
Yeah.
The only thing that grows from staying too long, I've never, ever heard somebody say, oh, I'm glad I stayed a year too long with somebody. Right? I've never heard that. I've only ever heard, oh my goodness, what a waste of a year. If Man City stay another year, first of all, you waste another year in testing whether Jesus should be the man or not. That's one thing. And then by delaying that is, let's say Haaland goes somewhere else and he smashes it now, right? You've wasted the opportunity to maybe exercise the option to get him. Then what? Now you're left with no Aguero. Jesus isn't the guy. You got to bring another guy in, probably overpay at that stage because people know now Jesus isn't the guy. Now you got a bit of leverage. Even if you're not getting a Haaland, right now people might come and say, okay, I'm going to be the study to Jesus. But if you wait another year, Jesus isn't the guy, then you're desperate, and then you're paying 150 million for a striker because people know they have you over the barrel and you've got the money.
It's exactly what happened with Yaya Toure. He had all the potential to leave City on the right terms and be this folk hero. But then City wanted to sell him. He didn't want to leave. There was a birthday cake issue. I mean, he could have been Man City legendary.
No, he could have been legend. Really, you've said it.
And now he's just kind of been written off.
And people always remember you for what you do at the end. You know, people get obsessed, like, what are we doing at the beginning and the middle? Always the way you leave a house party, a relationship, or whatever it may be, That's how like the other stuff we forget.
Mm.
Like you say, Yaya Toure, the guy got 20 goals in the league. Nobody remembers that.
No.
Everybody's like, oh, he's a brat who left because of the birthday cake.
20 goals as a midfielder.
That's insane. And he was like properly deep lying box to box guy, right?
Yeah.
But who remembers that? Everybody talks about the birthday cake now, right?
Yeah, the birthday cake and then the bus stop on the training ground. And
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is what happens. And resentment, it's ugly, man. I've been there.
It doesn't end well.
It never does. It never does. And a big thing for me in life as well is it's so easy to confuse talent and production. Like, especially if it's like shiny things. People like shiny things. But
Yeah.
what you got to remember is those shiny things age. Aguero's getting old. It's not Pep or Man City's job. It actually does them no favors to go, oh yeah, it's the Aguero. 5 years ago, he was the best in the world. What is he now?
Yeah.
And it's ugly, hey? It is ugly to have to move on from people.
It is. I think in a football sense, it's definitely ugly to move on from a club. At the wrong time when you've put a lot into it, like Yaya Toure did. And it's the same with moving on from people. When you move on at the wrong time, too late, you've put blood, sweat, and tears into a friendship or a relationship, and then for you to waste a whole year when you could have left a year ago.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a waste of time.
It is. Because you're going to be sad. Do you know what? In breakups, friendship or business, I've been in bad business breakups before, is people always think there's a nice way to deliver terrible news.
No.
There is no nice way to tell somebody, I've seen who you are as a person. I hate it enough to leave. Because that's essentially every breakup is that. Some people grow apart. That happens. But essentially, you have to be willing to swallow that bitter pill. It's like, I haven't seen the highlights package. I've seen everything you are. I hate it. I want to leave.
Yeah.
Is there a good way to deliver that? Maybe I'm being too narrow-minded.
I don't look. I think there's a good way to deliver it. But we're human beings with feelings, and your emotions are always going to take over when something doesn't go your way in something that you're emotionally involved in.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And that's where I think it gets ugly.
Yeah, that's brutal, huh?
It's Harry hardcore.
So what, your emotions, where you're emotionally invested, that's where it gets ugly, huh?
Yeah, I am an emotionally invested person.
In general?
Yeah.
And you had that one breakup. You haven't had another serious relationship yet. You're in one now. I hope it lasts forever. Because you're a good dude.
I am a good dude, yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm dope.
If I say it, fine. But I mean, if you say it, oh my goodness, how's this guy? Too humble. James, I can relate. You're a little humble there.
I am a little humble,
You're
right?
almost too humble, really.
Well, look, in this industry, you gotta
Be
play
humble.
the part, right?
Yeah? Oh, man, James, what a celebrity. It's
What a
unbelievable.
celeb.
Does your girlfriend know you're dating a celebrity?
I don't think
Or she's
so.
dating a celebrity?
I don't think so yet.
Oh, so so what you're saying is she better know, if she knows what's good for her, she better be ready.
Hey, look, I'm a big deal.
Yeah,
I'm always gonna remember where I come from. You know what I'm saying?
but
I'm a big deal now.
awesome. That is awesome. Do you know what you should
I
do?
might be in trouble tonight.
Yeah. What you should do is you should write her like a letter just saying, hey, just so you know, I'm a big deal now. I'm never going to forget where I came from, though. Like that's where our relationship is now.
Exactly.
And then it feels like she's the lucky one. Is that like in this situation?
I mean, now that you say it, I think so.
Oh, man, that is incredible. What were you going to say there?
I think I might be in trouble tonight. I just hope this doesn't backfire on me.
Hey, not my problem. I mean, I thought you'd stay humble, but clearly not. Yeah. So listen, Sergio Aguero, great player. Pep Guardiola, though, showing that ruthless side, because he moved on from Samuel Eto'o, by the way. He moved on from Eto'o. He sold Samuel Eto'o before he'd even seen him play. When he came from the B team.
Wow.
I mean, Eto'o went on to win the treble at Inter. But he still moved on and created the greatest footballing team of all time. He moved on from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So this is the type of person you're dealing with. He's going to have no problem moving on from Aguero. And I think the league's in trouble now. He's got the next cycle started. And what it's doing, another thing that I think is important in life, is we often leave culture. People talk about culture in life. Culture has to be deliberate. You can't just say, I'm going to put a bunch of talented people together. Man City now, what's the culture? Excellence is the standard. So nobody's going to get congratulated for being a legend. Because once you cut Aguero, what you're saying is, oh, all right, well, Aguero was here, by the way. He popped in. We got him the hell out. Who are you? Nobody now can ever come to Man City and be a big shot.
Well, I mean, when you've won, how many titles have they won in the last 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, they've got 5 in this past decade.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they've won 3 of the last 5, I think. So, in that sense, you say excellence is the standard now. At Man City, do you know with greatness, when you win, the great thing about Fergie's books and all these great teams is Ferdinand says they'd get into the dressing room after getting the trophy on the pitch. And Fergie says, Ferdinand, Scholes, Keane, they'd be at him and say, who are we signing for next season? But at Man City, it almost felt like every title they were winning now, it was still like, we're celebrating, yay. Like, no. Now, Pep's saying, no, being legendary is the standard. We don't celebrate victories. We expect to be victorious. Because in life, and I have one or two friends that are like this, it's very different to wish to win and to actually expect to win. It takes a very different type of mentality and a brutality. And, once you have that, is you're going to the next level, right? And it's not for everybody, because you're going to have to leave some people behind in business, in life. But I think Man City now should be scary to everybody, because if they're willing to cut Aguero, boy, oh boy.
Don't you think it's a recipe for disaster, though?
I don't.
To have that mentality of we should be expecting these trophies and these wins, because, as a Manchester City player, your mindset would be like, okay, cool. So we've just won another Premier League. This is expected. I'm not really supposed to be celebrating because it's expected.
Well, by that I mean, they expect to win, and in that sense is that when they lose, losing's not an option. You come to some clubs right now are talking about top 4, like that is a disaster at Man City now. It's clear what Pep's saying is that even if Aguero can go, it means we're either winning or the season is a complete failure.
Yeah.
Is what I mean by expect. The expectations now at City are no longer, hey, we're happy to participate. As the great Conor McGregor says, I'm not here to participate, I'm here to take over. I think that's what Man City are saying now. Because they haven't really had a manager. Mancini was Pellegrini, but now they've got a guy. And now the culture now is winning or death. For me, once you get rid of Aguero, winning or death. And anything else from here is, no, sorry, you're out. And no, I don't think it's a disaster, because I think what he's doing is he's raising the bar. The level of expectation now is the floor, right? I always say this to people as well, is, the greatness of institution, the eliteness of an institution. Everybody thinks inclusivity is the secret. It's not. It's how low is the floor of the institution. So these universities that are letting in dumber and dumber kids think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
No. That's not how you judge a great institution. Is how high is the floor of acceptance? So in terms of intelligence, in terms of business savvy, and in this case, what they're saying is, by the way, Kun Aguero is the floor. Legendary is the floor, because we'll get rid of legendary. And I think that's the only way to win. And you got to constantly be shedding, like a snake, You got to be shedding. So for me, I think great news if I'm Man City. If I'm a Man City fan, this is the best news in the world, because this is the recipe or that ingredient they were missing. A great, ruthless manager. You've got to be ruthless. And I know it's ugly. I know it's a time of everybody kumbaya and safe spaces. That's fine. But then go and work at an NGO. Go to Montessori. This is not Montessori. This is the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. It is the most competitive environment possibly in the world. So
have you seen it's a documentary on Amazon Prime.
I've seen both of them. I've seen the Man City one. I've seen the
Tottenham
one. It's phenomenal.
Watching both of those ones gave me so much insight as to who Pep and Jose were as managers, and how, Jose comes across as ruthless in these press conferences, but he actually, even to the players, he genuinely is. And I think seeing that insight, it changes your mindset completely of Pep and Jose. And I think after watching the Man City one, the Aguero move and being willing to get rid of Aguero, it's like, oh, it's just Pep being Pep, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know, at that level, something that people as fans, not everybody's played with and at that level or been exposed to that level, is having had a slight look from the inside myself at a junior level. Number one, you're dealing with the most competitive people in the world.
Sure.
Let me just tell you, in the dressing room, everything is a competition. Everything you can imagine is a competition. Number one. But when you get to that level, you're not coaching anymore. A lot of people think their job is to be a coach. You're actually more of a psychologist. Nobody's going to tell Kun Aguero what to do in any situation on the field.
Yeah.
He's done that. He's done his 10,000 hours. Don't worry about that.
He knows how to be a football player.
Now, what you need to do is, can you get him to participate in an activity he doesn't like? It's called sharing. Ugh. And now you've got 23 of those, by the way. 23 alpha males. They've been the best players in their team since they were 6 years old. Now you need to convince them that, by the way, I'm going to need to turn your talent down by about 50% because I need you to fit in a puzzle. Now you're not the star player. You're just another dude. And let me tell you something. 99% of the world doesn't like that. Now, when you go to alpha level, I've seen it break people.
Because how do you cope? You this golden boy, and I won the golden boot for scoring 12 goals against the blind team when I was 12. And, now you're at this level where you're playing against teams like Bayern, and you're fighting for a place against players like Riyad Mahrez or Raheem Sterling. How do you cope? You're not used to losing.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, right? Footballers are incredibly emotional people. They lose, their week's ruined. And a lot of people don't see this side of it, is they are creatures of habit. And what you got to remember is Kun Aguero's never lost in his life. Nobody's ever told Kun Aguero no. Nobody's ever told Kun Aguero that he's not the best. This will be a huge blow for him. And by the way, Pep's human. He knows that. But that's the brutality side of it, of like telling somebody who you know is the next level on a psychological level. It's an insane thing. And this is why winning's not for everybody. Everybody could have an Amazon. But Jeff Bezos has fired probably 30 managers. They don't care. I have a mentor, and she once told me this, and she was in a bad marriage. She won't mind if I tell you if I tell this, and she does listen to the show daily, James. By the way, she said she laughed at your breakup story. By the way,
do all of your friends just have many questions about my breakup?
They do. Although she laughed because she's got a bit of a wicked sense of humor. She said you were a bit dumb yourself. You should have seen it coming. But anyway,
how? I'm in matric.
James, I don't know.
I'm a naive matric 18-year-old.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what a South African broadcasting legend she is. And she told me to tell you should have seen it coming. But she's got a great saying. She had a terrible marriage, and she says, well, not always, but when it comes up, and we do laugh about it, she says, every time she speaks to young women, she says she cannot tell anyone the size of the check she would write to get out of a bad relationship. She would write any size check now from moving forward in life to get out of a bad relationship. So, that's that takes a special type of person to say that. Like, this is horrible. Let me get out of it. But that's Kun Aguero. That's Man City, and I think the end of a generation. We'll talk a little bit more later this week or next week about where he should go, where he might go. People are saying Chelsea. I'll give my thoughts moving on.
Do a Friday 5 when we have a 5.
Oh, yeah. Kun Aguero. Do we have any questions on the tweet monster there, James?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, let's take some Twitter questions.
So we have a Twitter one that says, side question here, but as somebody who has been listening to the show since the new setup with the boys, would really love to hear about Umbulelo's football exploits in his younger days. I have heard him mention bits and pieces.
Okay. How early on should I start, I guess? What would be interesting to people?
I think the Tottenham and Watford thing.
Okay,
obviously.
Well, that's pretty late on. So
maybe start just before that and how you got to that.
Okay, so when I was, I played in what you call the Danone World Cup, which was essentially the South African junior team. What was I, 11 or 12 then? Because it was an under-12 tournament. So
it is, yeah.
Yeah, I played in that. That was way back.
It's the biggest tournament, for in football in Africa for children aged 12.
Wasn't in Africa, but I do know what you are saying. It was the World Cup. Actually, the biggest football tournament though in the world is something called the Gothia Cup, which I was at 2 years ago in Sweden. But that was the Danone Cup before.
Right.
But now it's the Gothia Cup. Yes. When I was 12 at that tournament, Tottenham Hotspur wanted me then. My mother said, over my dead body. High school. Then I left at 18 Tottenham. That didn't work after 6 months. Drinking, partying, moved on to Watford. That didn't work after about 8 months. Then they loaned me out to, I was in Moscow after that. And that didn't work out because at that time, really interestingly, is Russian football was bringing in Brazilian guys or a lot of people outside, and some of the money had come in. And a guy you might know called Roman Abramovich had just bought a part of CSK Moscow at that time.
Who's Roman Abramovich?
Some dude. Yeah. So, and also the Russian president owns, he's largely known as the owner of CSK Moscow anyway. It kind of dictates what's going on there. So they were trying to make the Russian league. So what had happened was all the billionaires had kind of been assigned to buy football teams. Then you saw all the Brazilians coming to, especially the Moscow and St. Petersburg, obviously the two sort of capitals, cultural and sort of monetary capitals. So anyway, I was in Moscow.
Were you at CSK itself, or?
Yes, yeah, but as a junior, again.
Okay.
I'm still under 21 at this stage. Went there, but worst thing that could have ever happened, because now I'm away from the club. I'm in a completely new place, and it is party central. So a guy called Wagner Love, played with him. He's the best player I've ever played with, by the way. He was unbelievable. But I used to party with some of those guys, but they could pitch up to work and deliver, and I was nowhere near that talent level. But I'd forgotten that. So after about 7 months or so of that, that didn't work out. And I'd just come off at Watford a awful ACL injury. So that was like part of the 6 months, and then I went to Russia straight after that. And then after sort of 2 years, I was told, yeah, thanks a lot, your visa's been cancelled, but now you no longer have a football contract because of the partying. Yeah. And there was another side to it, because I ran into a bit of a social circle in the UK. This is a tricky one. Yeah, a friend of mine she passed away, but I used to drink a lot with her. I used to drink on match days. I used to drink on practice days. I used to pitch up to training. In fact, when I got my ACL, I pitched up at training drunk, and I always say it's a big part of why why I got injured. So, yeah, my lifestyle off the field was insane. And in Russia, by the way, it went to a whole nother level. I'm still convinced, Serbian people, Brazilian people, nobody parties like them. And I wasn't at the talent level. It's not like, we missed out on a Quentin Fortune. I wasn't at that level. You know, you got like to be at that level. It's not just the talent. You've got to have everything about you. And I wasn't ruthless enough with myself, but also you've got to be a killer. Like, I wasn't a killer. And you can be David Silva level talent and not have that killer instinct, and you can get away with it. Or Juan Roman Riquelme or this, but I was nowhere near that. So yeah, that's just the highlights package, but wild lifestyle off the field. Like, wilder than you'll ever imagine. I mean, some of the stories I tell you, some of the stuff we did would scare the pants off any parent on earth if I was to reveal all of that, because I had some money in my pocket as well, and that was a problem.
Are these stories for post-show?
Sure, probably for HBO, some of the stories. Most of those stories would need to go on HBO, where they allow adult content. Yeah.
When we're billionaires,
yes, we
can reveal the stories.
My dream is to buy an island and disappear. Like, if I can become like Bezos rich at some stage. I mean,
no. When you become.
When I become. Oh, you got to manifest it. Island. Straight away. For me, I'm gone. No, I'm dead serious.
Really?
No, island. I'm gone. And I disappear. Boom.
Without telling anyone?
Oh, I'm gone. Yeah. No, I'm gone.
But you're close with your mom and your sister. Why?
Yeah, but my mom's 70 now. She'll probably be dead in 30 years. You know?
On that note.
So, yeah, that's a small little sort of sample size of some of the best times of my life. But zero regrets. Like, people always ask me, do you regret it? So in my life, I regret absolutely, and I was a horrible person in my 20s. I want to be very clear.
Aren't we all?
But I regret absolutely zero, because it made me who I am today, and I am very comfortable, which is why I have no problem sharing a lot of my story from my 20s. I am very comfortable with who I am. Very, very comfortable. and I did some horrible things as a person. Forget about the football thing. When I came back, I spiraled out of control, and then I was drinking like crazy here, and then I spent all of my money, and then I was just a huge problem for all of my friends because I'd go out with no money and be a bum and sleep on their couches, and it became a situation. And then my relationship with my mom went to the dogs, not from her side, just from my side, because I was a wreck. So I'm very comfortable with it now. Is zero regrets. I loved every moment of it. Some of the memories, and the thing is, then I had access to the very top of the top. When we were in Moscow, we got in everywhere. We did everything. When I was in London, oh my God, London, jeez, yeah. So no regrets. Absolutely loved it. That's a small little highlights package, and I'll tell stories as we go along.
As we go.
Yeah, happy to tell stories.
It won't only be James's heartbreak and chill. It'll be Umbelelo's happiness at the bottom of a bottle.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Oh man,
there you go.
Came close to finding it. I still believe that. But then I stopped drinking in 2013, so now I'm just a boring old man.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
That runs a talk show.
That's it.
About football.
Yeah.
And other sports.
And other things. What else we got there, Jimbo? Anything on Twitter?
No, but I did get a message from my brother.
Let's see what he's got to say.
On the WhatsApp.
What is?
I feel like I need like 81 screens. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
To manage like the Twitter, the YouTube,
No, I don't think so. I think you can do that on one screen because you're not an idiot.
Oh, that's the nicest thing he's ever said to me.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. He says, quite an inspiring guy.
Oh, no, not true. That's not, no.
And he says he's got to meet you so that he can hear those
some of the stories. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, what's your brother's name?
Tristan.
Oh, that's a tricky one because Tristan can be a girl or a boy.
So can James.
Oh, can you have a girl, James? We're in Ireland, huh?
Probably. But you can have like James, which can be a girl's name, and you can also have Jamie.
Is there a famous James who's a woman?
It's worth a Google. I actually want to know.
Wait, have you ever met a girl, James?
No.
So why did you say that James can be a girl's name?
Because it can.
Where's this James? Or how come I've never met him? And I've traveled.
That's
yeah.
I'm sure it can be a girl's name. It's like Ashley can be a boy and a girl's name.
Yes. No, Ashley I've met. I do know a male Ashley. I don't know a single James who's a woman. Anyway, and I know Irish people, I know Scottish people. I'm trying to think what country that could be.
Blake Lively named her daughter James.
Yeah, but those are celebrities. I mean, they're naming their children Apple.
Yeah, that's Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah. Oh, and she's got the candle vagina thing.
What?
Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah. Oh, Google that. Do you not know about Gwyneth Paltrow and her? By the way, vagina is not a swear word. That is the medical word for it.
I'm not sure I want to Google candle vagina on my laptop.
Do you not know about that?
No.
The vagina scented candles. James, I'm so...
You're lying.
Folks, I wish you could see James's face right now. Do you know what?
You're lying.
James, Google... Listen, if you're at home right now, please go and look at Gwyneth Paltrow vagina scented candles.
Is there an incognito mode on Safari? Do you know?
Why? Do you don't want your girlfriend seeing what your...
I just don't want somebody searching something on my laptop that starts with C, and then they're like, "Oh, James, what is this?"
Yeah, your girlfriend. Yeah, James, why do you want a vagina-scented candle that smells like Gwyneth Paltrow? But that's a real thing, by the way.
So wait, do they smell like her or just woman?
I don't have the candle. Yeah, I don't have the candle.
Why? That's lame.
Yeah. So James, but tell me this. Actually, now that we've opened that can of worms, hey, that was Kun Aguero Man City talk, but we've gotten into this now.
Yes.
Do you have a password on your phone?
I do.
Because I got a very interesting phone call from a friend last night, and him and I have had this debate forever. Listen, keep in mind, people, ladies, if you're listening to this, I am very single for a reason, and I think this is one of the reasons. Okay, so you've got a girlfriend, and you've got a password on your phone.
I do.
So you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
Does your girlfriend know your password to your phone?
I'm not actually sure.
Would you give it to her if she asked?
Probably.
You got nothing to hide, huh?
Not really.
Yeah. So I've always said this to guys because, again, ladies, I can't speak for ladies, right? I don't know any ladies. I'm not a lady, but I don't know any ladies who think like this. I have one friend who does, but I always say, okay, so do you think we should open, you should be able to go into your partner's phone, she should be getting into your phone? Or do you think it's a murky world?
I think, like, I'm not saying this because, like, people have things to hide. I just feel like it's your phone. I'm not going to say, hey, give me your phone.
Yeah.
Um,
So what? Like her phone,
yeah, I've never actually asked her.
her password, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's a tricky one. Anyway, let me tell you about this call last night.
right.
So my mate gives me a shout, and he says his girlfriend asked for his. It's kind of new. I think they've been dating for less than 3 months. But anyway, relatively short. Could be less than 6 months. To me, I don't know what short means. Anyway, so she says she wants to go through his phone, or like not go through his phone, just ask the password and whatever. And then she goes on its Instagram feed.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah,
Oof.
yeah. And naturally, as any guy, he's a dude. He's a guy.
He
And-
follows some influencers, right?
Yeah, and so it's not like there's nudity because he sent me a screenshot of but it's just like athletic women, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then it was a situation because now the girlfriend is saying, "Oh, is that what you want me to look like?" And then you see where that's going.
I think that sparks insecurities in. I don't know the girl, so I probably can't judge her. I shouldn't,
Yeah.
but I just feel like it's a sign of insecurities. Maybe I don't know.
Okay, but I said to him, look, for me, she shouldn't be angry. I said to him this. This is why I'm a bachelor. Maybe is if you go looking for something and you find it, don't get upset because she clearly if that triggered her, why is she upset? Don't ask for stuff. Careful what you wish for because you might just get it. I said he needs to tell her, don't be upset. If you went looking for it, I gave you the password, so you found what you were looking for.
Yeah, what was your purpose for going into the Instagram?
That's what I was saying. So he's right. Or am I wrong?
Wait, what was his stance? Your stance?
No.
Was...
He's definitely on my side.
Yeah,
but
no,
I didn't do
agree.
anything. I'm just looking at
Maybe it's a guy's mindset.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it is. But I agree with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I think you wanted the password. You went into my Instagram for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, my Instagram is pretty boring.
Yeah. Listen, everyone's
James_Eelsley if you want to follow
Yeah.
me.
But you want to bump up his follows. But listen, my thing is, everyone's insecure. There's these people that think they aren't. Like,
Sure.
if you saw your girlfriend eating at a restaurant with someone more handsome than you, and you got a great beard, it's going to make you feel some type of way. Like, I don't care how secure you think you are, right? And how much you trust your partner.
Yeah.
Like, these things are lurking. And hey, if you go looking for stuff, you will find it. You must be careful what you're looking for, So I said to him, yeah. But I always say to guys, especially if you're in a relationship and it's new, set up 2 profiles. One password. I'm sorry. And I'm single, by the way, so I can't get in trouble, right? Maybe when I get in a relationship, this will change. One password lets you into like a guest platform, and then she can see your phone and whatever.
It's got a hidden gallery.
No.
images
That
and
one's
stuff.
got like the plain, even that Instagram you probably just use for work or whatever. But then your real profile, if if you're a dude, I don't know, you're checking for Lindsey Vonn and all these.
Well, I've got the Cliff Central Sport Instagram linked to my Instagram, so if,
Oh, you're safe, huh?
No.
Oh, you're saying if you start to stray.
Well, I just feel like, it's an important account
Yeah.
to have. So I could just switch to it before whoever wants my phone. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then I'm like, nah, I don't have Instagram.
Oh, that is good stuff. All right, well, those are my thoughts. I'd love to know what people think. Maybe James, will you put a poll on Cliff Central Sport?
Sure.
Should your partner know? Should your partner know your
Phone's password.
Yeah, I'd love to know what people think. So hashtag the MKT Show live. By the way, you can hashtag that as you reply and vote on that. Okay, let's move on, Jimbo. Folks, I've said to you before, international football is probably the worst thing on this planet. But now Lewandowski's injured and Reguilon is injured. As Tottenham have just spent about £30 million on Reguilon, Lewandowski's the best striker in the world currently going. Before we get into it, if you are in a relationship and you told your husband or wife you're going to sell your second property, but you want to buy a second motorbike, or you tell them, I've already bought the second motorbike, all right? She would go berserk. You probably leave you, and quite rightly. Is that in that sense, both are really awesome to have. Like a second property, nice income, And a motorbike's sick. It looks sick on Instagram. It is a thrill to go 300 kilometers an hour. But the one is a staple and is necessary. And maybe you want to put your kids in private school, the second property. That's bringing in income. The motorbike is a nice to have. International football, in this case, is the motorbike. It's awesome to have. But a motorbike, it's raining. You can't use it. Your wife's insecure, your husband's insecure, you can't ride it. It's a nice to have. Listen, international football, essentially, I've always said, is like having a drop top in Sweden because you can only drive it 3 months of the year. For the rest of the time, you're in a snowstorm. Right? It's dark for 16 hours of the day. What is the point of a drop top in those conditions? It is a nice to have. Listen, it is nice to have international football. It is definitely the icing. Icing's nice. I've always said icing's nice.
8% body fat.
But I mean, I do have 8% body fat, and I'm not putting icing in this body. Icing's nice. But you need the cake. Premier League football, Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga. That's the cake. You can eat lots of cake and not get sick. You can't eat that much icing. And international football needs to accept that it is not the central theme of the world anymore. Lewandowski's injured. Reguilon's injured. And I ask this of international football and anybody who watches. What is the point of international football in this current market? Number one, it doesn't pay the players. It pays them a tiny stipend. These guys are earning 30, 40, 50 million, and we've been down this road before. Right? For underdeveloped nations, it's a different kettle of fish. If I'm Lewandowski, what is the point of playing for Poland when I get injured? And by the way, Claude Makelele a couple of years ago tried to retire from international football. France told him, if you don't come, we will block your ability to play for Chelsea at the time. Claude Makelele. So those who don't know, players can't just retire from international football. That's not how it works. If your international team wants you, even if you're 37, if you say no and they feel a certain type of way about it, they can get FIFA to block your ability to play for your club. This is the club that pays you 10, 20, 80, 150,000 pounds a week. While international football does what exactly? I don't understand it. From a professional sense, as a player, I never get to practice with these people. From a product sense, as a consumer, they never get to practice together. It's not the highest level of the sport. What does it do for the ecosystem of football? I just don't understand it. Now the most important part. And this sucks for sports fans. But sport is a product. Reguilon is a 40 million pound asset. That is all footballers are. I know people like to think of them as people. Just relax. They are assets now. So now, I'm Tottenham. A 40 million pound asset is being assessed by a medical team, which is not under my guidance. Folks, if you had insurance before, you know what they think about that. And anybody listening to this, if you have a 40 million pound asset, good for you. Please inbox me because I need to be with the same financial advice as you. 40 million pound asset in this world needs to be secured. Now he's at Spain. I've got no clue what he's eating. I've got no clue how he's sleeping. I've got no clue what the thresholds of training are. No clue. In what world is that sustainable in business? Now, if international football was paying more than club football, I could understand that. But how is it that in a world based purely on economy, which is football, that is what it is, international football gets to dictate to club football? It does not make sense. And how is it sustainable? Right now it's madness. Lewandowski injured, Reguilon injured. And you know who pays for it? Me, the consumer. Because I've got DSTV. I pay for ESPN. I pay for cable television. I subscribe to Chelsea. I subscribe to Liverpool. I subscribe to Bayern Munich. I'm buying the replica kits. And I'm getting shafted. Why? So people in Switzerland can sit there and pat themselves on the back. It's an ego thing. Let it go. But this is what happens with men, by the way. I've said this before. Men are terrible at making the right decision for teams. You know why? Because men want credit. I don't know. I'm not a geneticist. Maybe somebody out there is a geneticist or a neuroscientist. Men are all ego all the time. And also they go, hey, I did this. Look, I want the credit. Men. Women, for me, the brilliant thing about especially alpha women is women will move on like that. Women are great. I know a friend of mine, the same friend, by the way, who said to James, does he have closure in his breakup? She's brilliant. I know she went back to the shop 6 times for the same pair of shorts.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean?
No. Because she's got no ego.
Did she rip the first pair?
Oh, no. Just didn't like it. Didn't like how it fitted. Change this. Change the same. I've got stuff at home that I will not take back because my ego says, no, you were right. Women will move on from stuff, dude. When women make a mistake, women will move on from stuff. So she went back for these shorts. I'll never forget it. I went with her twice, and then I said to her, go to hell. 6 times she went back to these shorts. Because that's just how alpha women are. Like, no. This is, here's the better decision. I'll go back to the shops. Let me change these shorts for slightly different ones with a slightly different sequence no one will see. Men won't do that. It's like, I made the right decision. I don't like these shorts, but I'm not going to go back because it's my ego and I'm right. And men are like this. FIFA is filled with these men. Infantino now is a mess. We thought he was a change from Sepp Blatter and that mess. Men need to get out their own heads. And this is what happens. Big alpha men, international football is dead, but their egos won't allow them to say, hey, this animal's dead. Let's size it down. Let's just play the World Cup and let's figure out a way to move on. £40 million asset that Tottenham have now won't be able to use for 6 weeks. The greatest striker on earth because Poland had to play England in a World Cup qualifier for a World Cup nobody really wants to go to, but whatever. And now Lewandowski's out for 4 weeks.
Is that game tonight? Sorry.
It could be tonight. International football. I think it's
either last night or tonight.
Poland, England, and now, here's the real thing. He's out for 4 weeks. Guess what he does? He misses 2 Champions League ties. That could be the end of Bayern Munich, by the way.
That's against PSG, right?
That is against PSG. And you don't have your strongest weapon now. And by the way, the Champions League worth around 250,000 pounds a year to every club that's in it, especially Bayern Munich. What now?
And you're the current champions.
Oh, and the favourites.
And the current favourites, yes.
And now, because Poland had to play England in a World Cup qualifier that could have been postponed, that could have been played next year, we could have found another way. Plus, Bayern Munich gets no money, by the way. I think if your players get injured, there is a cap. I think it's about 10 million max. That's what Poland will be forced to pay Bayern Munich. But 250 million is what it's may cost Bayern Munich because they won't win the title. Remember, that's a World Club Cup. That's endorsements. Everybody likes to be champion. So, what is the point of international football? I don't get it. Am I crazy?
I think, and it's similar to a tweet that came in while you were speaking. It's so that the tweet was speaking about it being the highest honor for a player to play for their nation at national or international events, Olympics, World Cups, all of that stuff. And I think it is to don even the the shirt for Peru at a World Cup is an incredible feeling, probably, and an incredible achievement. But I think, it's like we said the other day, maybe that's where it should stop. At Confed Cups, at the World Cups, that's where it should stop. Why are we playing these stupid friendlies? Like I said to you, I think this morning about Daniel Sturridge or yesterday. Daniel Sturridge would always go on England international duty and come back injured. Every single time without fail.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And that's an asset.
Absolutely.
That is a striker for a club like Liverpool. Lewandowski is a striker for Bayern Munich. It's I don't know. I struggle with it. It's boring. I on the weekends I look forward to watching the football, to watching, Liverpool lose and Man City win.
But they're a product.
That's the thing.
International
they
football is
sell.
not a product.
You go to Total Sports or Sports Scene, wherever it is. Oh, there's the new Chelsea shirt. Walk in and say, oh, do you guys have the new Spain shirt.
I don't.
Exactly.
Nobody does.
Exactly. I've got a Spain shirt from, I think, the year after the 2010 World Cup. And that is about it. That is it.
So what did the tweet say?
The tweet said, I'm 100% in agreement that international football is useless, but for a player, is it not the highest honor to wear your country's badge and represent your people?
Okay, so I think we must separate two things. You know, there's a great saying, passion doesn't pay the bills. 30 years ago, in fact, let me start off with another saying. My mentor, the very same mentor I was telling you about, she has a great way of articulating this. All right, number one, passion doesn't pay the bills. So I just want to, that's the headline of all of this. But she always says to me, because I get into my ego, I get into my emotions. She says, listen, do business the way business is being done. And you know what players are? Players must stop looking at themselves as being lucky to be in this. When you get to that level, you are a business. Every player is a business, right? It is a business. You are leveraged. You are an asset. You are paid. You have value. You have market value. These are all the rules of economy. Passion doesn't pay the bills. And this great mentor of mine always says, do business the way business is being done. Football clubs will move on from you. If you cannot be paid or earn money for what you're doing as a footballer, and you go and risk yourself for passion, right? I think you're an idiot. Football is a 10-year career. The money must last you 70 years. People live to 90 now. From 20 to 30, you will get paid. Maximize that. Money doesn't last forever. Private schools do. Don't tell me about passion. Get yourself paid. And you know what? A friend of mine works with South African footballers, and we see this problem all the time. But globally, go and look at the numbers. I believe it's 80% plus of players that go broke after they stop playing. Folks, let me explain something to you about footballers. They have never known anything else from around the age of 7 or 8. Footballers do not have real life skills, and they have nothing going for them outside of football. That is the only skill largely that they have. They cannot monetize anything else. They do not have life skills. I'm telling you this because I know it, not because it's a tired narrative. I know footballers. They are maniacal for 20, 30 years, and then life stops. Go and look at all the documentaries, what happens when footballers stop. And not just footballers, all sportsmen, but go and look at sportsmen. When the career ends, you know what the problem is? They keep spending like they're footballers, right? But there's nothing coming in. And I'm telling you, it's a lack of life skill. So what I'm saying to you is, if footballers are playing something and they ever use the passion line, because that's a team line. Peru, Germany, they'll tell you about passion and this nonsense. Get yourself paid. And I'll tell you what, as a fan, that makes us sad, because football wasn't meant to be a product when it was invented. It's not like cricket.
It was a whole different ball game when it was invented.
Oh, yeah. No, football was purely meant, it's actually known as association soccer. When it was invented, it was for association, community. It's a very philosophical thing. If you'd like to look up someone called Simon Critchley, and if you care about the deeper sort of philosophical sort of notions under the undertones of football in its very roots, he has such a beautiful way of articulating it. He says, football, by its very nature, is war by other means, right? And in that sense, it's appealing to that sort of, war has rules. And human beings need rules, and we conduct ourselves in a way, but also there's rules within war, rules of engagement. This is a part of society. So also there's rules when we associate, which is why they called it association soccer to begin with, the British, when they did it that way, the Football Association, right? So football is the working class ballet. The intent of it was, let's associate, let's have a good time, let's exercise, let's get to know each other, let's battle, and then let's go home. War by other means. But that was hundreds of years ago. Now you are a business. Every soccer player, every sportsman, if you're ever going to go into sport, don't ever fall into the line of passion or your country this. You owe nobody anything but you and your talent and your family. Get paid. International teams don't pay anybody. All right, what's next?
We have some YouTubes.
All right, let's take we'll take a few questions and then we'll move on to the next topic. Actually, I'll take some YouTube questions here. Dr. Niquin Adams, I hope I've said your name correctly there, says, I think we should gift the show those candles, for the ambiance. I'm guessing that's Gwyneth Paltrow has vagina-scented candles.
I'm good, thanks.
You're right, hey, Jumbo?
If anybody wants to send them, our PO box is...
All right, I hope I'm saying it correctly, Dr. Adams. Look, I'd like to know what it's, I'm an inquisitive guy. I'm open-minded.
I'm really tempted to Google, like, the product range, but I just don't want that on my laptop.
Okay, well, James, whatever. If you're living in this dark world, I can't help you there. Jesse Randolph says, 2 profiles, that's too much work. Listen, there's a choice to make there, right? Because both are going to be horrible. There's going to be the guilt of knowing you are lying to somebody you love by giving them the wrong profile, or the other pain, right? In life, everything is pain. The other pain is you have to choose to fight with your girlfriend. So you choose, right? Is if she sees your profile, your real profile, and you haven't wiped it clean, you're going to have a fight because you're going to have pictures of Scarlett Johansson and Megan Good, and I don't know who the sex symbols are today on your profile. I'm just speaking for guys, by the way. Ladies, if you are listening, I don't know what you search. I don't know. I'm single. I don't know. I've never, ever, not once asked my partner for a phone. And I've had 2 very serious relationships. I've never once. I don't want to know what's on their phone.
I don't think I have either, actually.
Not yet.
It's not my business. It's
None
your
of that.
phone.
Huh? All right. Well, that's what I say. But Jesse Randolph says it's too much work for him. He'd rather just have one profile. All right, Jesse, good luck.
I've got those 2 profiles already attached to my Instagram. So
Oh, I see.
the Cliff Central and the my actual account.
Oh,
so
man. Yeah, James, you're gonna have some explaining to do after this, huh?
I might.
You might do. All right. Mr. Naba says, is it Zafeta? Or it could be Zapeta. Says, international football is only interesting come tournament time. World Cup, Euros, Copa. Club football is interesting all the time. Mr. Naba, I couldn't agree more. And I think we've said that is, for me, cancel all the other malarkey. Find a way to make, as is written here, World Cup, Euros, Copa, AFCON. Make those the World Cup qualifiers. Right? Because, by the way, the World Cup is expanding, I think, from America 2026. I think it's going to be what is it now, 32? I think it's going to be a 48-team tournament.
Aren't they, I could be wrong, but this is also the same World Cup where they're including Mexico as a host city or something like that, isn't it?
That's the next one, America.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Canada. It's the whole of
the Americas,
yeah.
North America, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shambles.
Want
America is massive, by the way.
the jet lag those players are going to face.
It is massive. That is going to be calamitous already.
Stupid.
Yeah, and also, by the way, if people don't know what's happening now, we got Euros this year. Hey, pandemic, whatever. For me, cancel Euros because, by the way, next season World Cup
Is it already a World Cup?
in the middle of the next,
2022.
and that's in the middle of next season. By the way, that's in the middle. Remember, there's a stoppage in the middle
December. Yeah.
because you can't play in Qatar in summer. 60 degrees.
How's their whole building their stadiums and cities going? I know they were behind.
No, they built.
very much.
Well, they built, and they've already had the World Athletics Championships in them, and they've got the air cons in the stadium. But again, by the way, expect the next 18 months to have international football interrupted twice. And now, on the back end of that, injuries certified. Injuries certified. Right? The players are going to get injured. At the end of next season, it is going to be carnage.
They're going to come back in February or wherever, and we're just going to have an injured Premier League.
Very
That's what
annoying.
it's going to be rough.
So it's Euros, the leagues will start, interrupted halfway, and then we'll finish the season, and it is a mess.
And they've released the league dates for next season.
They have.
I think a week ago or
We'll
something.
profile those a bit next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Before we move on, are we moving on to the next segment?
Before we move on, what you got?
At the risk of being this is a tweet. Sorry.
Yeah, let's hear it.
At the risk of being at the risk of being controversial, I would love to hear your thoughts on the current issue surrounding equal pay in sports. There is a big campaign by female stars like USA's Megan Rapinoe to get equal pay. I saw a new ad campaign the other day also. Look, I think I don't understand why there isn't equal pay. If you can afford to pay Salah 28 million a year, why? Why can't you do it for women? Maybe you know what it is actually?
Mhm.
It's not as big of a brand, I think.
Sure.
You know, to sell come watch the US women's football or come watch the women's I don't think it's that big of a brand. I know there was women's football this weekend actually.
Okay. No, I didn't see it. Yeah.
It was on Sky actually.
Yeah.
Which was actually the first time I've seen it being advertised on Sky.
On TV, huh?
Um, but yeah, I think it's a branding thing.
Yeah, I think you know to answer that question, I think it's a very very tricky one. The argument of always going, and I'm not obsessed with the equal pay for now, but the argument always goes because they don't make as much money, they shouldn't earn as much, right? Is it everybody rushes to that, and then you start to say to yourself, I mean, I know Sweden's national teams at national level they pay them the same.
Yeah,
So that got fought for. I think Zlatan was on board there.
I think they
Oh
also.
no, Zlatan actually went against it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, no, he came out in public and just said they don't make as much money. But I think the interesting thing is, can we build that profile over the next couple of years? Because you do need the sort of campaigning for it. Is it possible now? Probably not. Probably not, because the gatekeepers, there is a bottom line to it. And I guess, because that opens up a whole can of worms, by the way, just so you know, is then gymnasts go, why aren't we getting paid the same? And then people say, yeah, but your sport doesn't make the same. Yes, but then people say, yes, but you pay the female soccer players the same, even though they don't generate the revenue. Like, where do you stop that argument? Every argument has a counter argument. And again, it feels like the right thing to do. And there's such a brutality to it because you do want female heroes. I think we need to move past the world. And like for me, I want to be honest, I don't watch women's sport, right? But that doesn't mean we shouldn't have female heroes. I want my nieces and nephews seeing soccer players, seeing from violinist. I don't just want them being in the kitchen nonsense. It's 2021, for God's sake. If women want to play rugby, awesome. Like who are these people that get to decide how a woman can shape her life? That's awesome. And I guess there are smarter people than me that'll figure out is how do we make that world a world that can be profitable, sustainable, doesn't need a manly overlook over it. It can be women managers, women administrators. And how do we make that a sustainable ecosystem? Because if we say things like definitely pay people more now, is where's the money coming from? And I know that's a brutal conversation to have, but it is the ultimate conversation to have. Where's the money coming from? And once we can start to create revenue streams, I think that's really important. And I guess for the established guys, what you want to do is probably start jumping on board and going, here's how you do it. Let's start exploring these things. And I think Megan, is it Rapinoe?
Rapinoe.
Rapinoe. Yeah, she's. By the way, I find her absolutely insufferable. But I think they're onto something. Is we need more heroes for women. It can't just be you're either going to be a doctor or you're going to be a stay-at-home wife. Like for crying in a bucket.
2021.
Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, so I think we're headed in the right direction, and it's going to need people. Probably, maybe me finding her insufferable is a great thing because she's pushing for.
Yeah.
And I don't think she when people use equality in that sense is they just want the same opportunity. People want the same opportunity, and I think we're headed in the right direction. And maybe we're moving too slowly. I don't want to answer a question that important. And sometimes for subjects that important, people always look for shortcuts. There are no simple solutions for complicated problems. Anybody who offers you a simple solution for love, for losing weight, for social change is an idiot. They're a moron. Get away from them. These things are extremely complicated, and everything has a causal web. So I know that probably doesn't answer your question. I think, listen, keep the argument alive. How can we, rather than say reject Megan Rapinoe, I would say, awesome, let's keep generating the revenue streams. Let's keep growing those. Who's interested? Where are they? How do we talk to them? How do we replicate the good parts of male football within the women's game? And by the way, we should probably ask women about that. Really, that's also another thing. Is we often hear from
a good idea.
we often hear from male protagonists, right? It's like, quite frankly, do women need more men talking on their behalf? Is that what we need? Do we need a world where if you want to be a woman, you should hear it from a man? I don't think so. So probably a better question to ask women, really. And, the presumption, I guess, as men is, oh, because it doesn't look like the men's game, no thank you. But maybe women don't want it to look like the men's game. Has anybody asked that? And I don't know. I'm not in that world. So it will be interesting to hear from women is, what do they want within that space? And, good luck to them. For me, good luck to them. This thing is, it's not a pie, by the way. Success is not a pie. There's enough for everybody. Don't worry about it. There's too much money in the world. Those are my thoughts. I think it's great. More female heroes for women, because I have nieces and nephews who I want having different heroes. Soccer players, tennis players. Serena's done great things there. And I find Serena insufferable herself, but Serena's done incredible things in the space. So more heroes, more golf heroes. Awesome. We'll probably have Annika Sarenstrom on very soon, and she's got serious opinions, by the way. She's opened a women's golf thing in Europe, trying to get similar thing, pushing for women's pay, pushing for the tournaments to be on TV more. So yeah, I think it's the march of progress. For those who don't know what that is, it's the famous. It sort of starts off in the Neanderthal phase, and we come to what we are now, and you kind of see the man standing up, and then he's eventually holding a spear. That's called the march of progress in the sciences. So hopefully we're headed in the right direction.
What's really funny is golf is the I don't know, the acronym for golf?
Yes, gentlemen only, ladies forbidden.
And the funny thing is that golf has actually been more progressive in televising and allowing inclusion of women. I'm not sure what the pay difference is, but I know that women's golf is a thing. Like, it's a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Probably bigger than women's football.
Tough one. Listen, I was in Sweden, by the way, on this point. When we were in Sweden at the Gothia Cup, I could not believe how seriously they take women's sport.
Really?
Oh, my God. The women football players. Let me tell you something. I'm 178, right? So that's about 5'11". I'm 178, 178 centimeters. I was walking in and amongst some of the under 16 Swedish girls teams. Dwarfed.
Really?
Oh my God, they're all 190. They look like footballers.
So they're like my
Oh
height.
my God, they are footballers. They are professional athletes. All of them. You can see, like, oh my goodness, you've been training. They take it so seriously. I will never forget one of the most impactful moments of my life. I saw a centre back. I was watching one of the women's games. Some of the older ladies, 17 or 18. There was a long ball over the top, and she's at centre back. She put it on her chest, but it looked like Thiago Silva. No, she was just she was the captain, and I remember looking at her and I thought, oh my God, that is a world class player. And I thought, she could walk into the Banyana team right now. Like, that is a world. The way she controlled the football, and I thought, my God, in Africa we are still in the dark. They are serious. They are. Oh my God! And I went to the final. It looked like a pro game. Everything, formations, movement. Because listen, I understand football inside out. I could see everything. Like, oh, these are trained professionals. And I was, you know what? And I'm not one to be a social justice warrior. I want to be very honest. It was one of the most awesome moments of my life. Like, look at these. I was so sort of entranced in the game. I'd even forgotten I was watching women's football. I was just at a football game, just watching high-level people doing their thing. And if you go look on my Instagram, I think there was a feed at the winners thing. I'm MKT Inspires, by the way, on social media. And it was just amazing. So, we sometimes get caught in these pockets around the world where we think it's not happening, but the Scandinavians, I mean, listen, maybe they're different because also, their inclusivity levels are next level.
Yeah.
They take that in. It's not even inclusivity their opportunity. It's like, for them as women, just get on board. Like, if you're a man and you think women are less, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So I guess
Maybe it's a European thing.
I don't think so, because listen, I don't want to start getting into a world where being European makes you better than the rest of the world. It doesn't.
No, I said maybe. I didn't say it is.
Yeah, I just think, they're progressive. Listen, there's Europeans and there's Scandinavians, right? They're a different bunch. I dated a Danish lady. They are different. I've always said they're aliens.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah, no, they are aliens. They're next level. We are behind the Scandinavians. The Europeans, I'm not so sure.
We are behind a lot of things.
Yeah. We are behind on a lot of things. All right. Jimbo, is that it from the tweet monster?
Let me have a look. I did see there's a YouTube. You can read that if you want to. No tweets.
All right. Okay, we'll move on. So in football and in sports, you always get like weird injuries, right? Jimbo, you got a list of
I do.
crazy weird injuries that I have not seen, by the way. So I'm going to respond to them. James Ellingsley, hit us.
I'm very excited for this, as you know. Very.
I do know he's been buzzing. Like this better not be a letdown either.
No, it's not.
This
It's
is this is a top level sports show, and you're going to show me. So you better not let us know.
I won't. It's very exciting. I've been so excited for this since I WhatsApped you like last week.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that kind of spurred it on, right, is a football player by the name of Jean-Pierre Adams, and I'm probably not saying that correctly because I don't have the French accent. Jean-Pierre Adams. His Wikipedia page still says is a former, is a French former professional. So it's been changed. He isn't a football player anymore, but he didn't really retire.
Did he die?
No. So this is how it works, right? He played for PSG.
Okay.
That was probably his biggest sort of club achievement. And he had a ligament injury in his leg
Okay.
in 1982.
Okay.
He was 33.
Okay.
Okay. So he was kind of coming towards the end of his career. He went into surgery for this ligament injury, and the anesthetist made a mistake with the anesthetic,
Oh no.
and he went into what was it called? A bronchospasm.
Okay.
And he slipped into a coma because his brain was starved of oxygen. And he's been in a coma, still is to this day.
Alive.
He's in a coma. He's alive, but he's sleeping.
Yeah, that's deep sleep.
Um,
He's not popping up for a glass of water.
No,
Yeah.
he's been in a coma since 1982. That's 39 years.
No, you're joking.
I'm serious. 39 years.
Oh my god. I have so many questions.
I hope I have the answers.
39 years.
39 years.
Where's he staying? Do you know? Where, like, is he at a hospital? Is he at his house? Because footballers didn't make money back then.
I
Is he a
think
trust fund kid?
He's supported by his wife currently.
What does she do? Is she like, who can afford to keep somebody alive for 39 years?
So that's what I thought, right? Do you think PSG were maybe like, okay, well, this isn't really he's retiring. He's been asleep for a while. Are we still going to pay him his salary? Like, what do you think PSG's mindset on this is?
No way. I know football clubs. Football clubs will move on from you if you have if you say something bad. No, they're way too ruthless. Football clubs do not care about people.
So it's sorry for you. See you later.
Yeah, that's the side of football I've experienced. So there is no way. There is no
It's incredible.
way.
Hey?
39
Yeah.
years. I'm interested in how the hell is he paying for that? Who's funding that?
That's a good question.
If anybody knows, send that answer to us. By the
Hmm.
way, if you'd like to ever use snail mail for this day and age, it is electronic mail or email, sport@cliffcentral.com. If you have something to say, if you'd like to note something, if you'd like us to have some ideas towards doing things better, send that to us. Sport@cliffcentral.com.
There you go.
That's crazy, dude.
His wife, they did have a whole court case about it because obviously that's kind of, I think it's
Malpractice,
manslaughter
yeah?
or malpractice essentially. And his wife was asked if she was going to consider euthanasia.
Okay.
And she's still to this day continued to attend to his needs.
That is incredible.
The anesthetist and the trainee were given a 1-month suspended sentence and fined $815. That's it. $815. That's probably about $10K to
Yeah.
us.
Listen, as the child of a doctor, I don't believe in finding doctors and things like that. By the way, people make mistakes, and it's a hard job. And things. By the way, people die all the time on operating tables. They just we just don't tell you is exactly what happens. So
Essentially.
stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like, most doctors take an oath, and hey, by the way, there's so many dum-dums on this planet. Very few people can become doctors. I never blame medical staff. Ever, even if they're wrong. I'm like, oh, well, stuff happens.
It's got to happen, I guess.
That's crazy. 39 years.
So this
That's
kind
a nice nap.
I mean,
Nice nap.
this spurred an interest in me for the last week.
Okay, let's hear it.
As you guys know.
Sure.
On
No,
the,
you've
on the WhatsApp group.
To be clear, he has been on about this. Let's hear it.
He has. So I Googled a couple of things to see what the most bizarre football injuries were. I mean, I try to find other cases where, it's similar to this, but nothing. Sam Henderson.
No, don't know.
Ring a bell?
No, not at all.
Cool. So he played for Queen of the South, which I presume is probably like an 8th division football team.
Sure. Is that in England?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He was ruled out. He was ruled out after he was hit by a runaway cow.
So how does that go? So what was he ruled out? Was he injured? Like,
Yeah.
he didn't die.
No, he didn't die. He was just out for a couple of weeks because a cow ran into him.
Man, imagine phoning the club to tell them, because footballers, by the way, especially back then. When was it? Can you remember the date?
It doesn't actually no. There is a date. Sorry, 2018.
Oh no, so you can't actually lie. Then they'll know. They'll see your Instagram feed and
Imagine phoning the gaffer and saying, "Listen, I won't be at training because."
Yeah, all right, gaffer. All right, Shane, where are you? You're running a little late. So here's the thing. I've been run over by a cow.
Yeah, a whole cow.
So, you can't speak about your girlfriend like that. No. So no. I've actually, a bovine creature has rendered me useless.
A four-legged animal.
That's wild. Okay, Queen of the South. All right, what's the next one?
So let's have a look here. Marco Asensio.
I do
you
know
may
him.
have heard of this story also.
Yes, actually. Real Madrid sensation, but tell the story.
Yes, so Real Madrid missed the first Champions League game of the 2017-2018 season. So Real Madrid didn't miss it, but he did. And his reasoning was that he had an infected pimple after shaving his legs.
I do remember that one. Yes, that is.
How?
No, that's ridiculous.
Why do you miss a game for that? Is an infected pimple bad?
Yeah, under the pain.
Oh, is it painful?
Yeah, that's uber painful.
Right, that makes sense then, I guess.
As a runner, I've had like infected toes. I know how that renders you.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. But yeah, shave. Pay someone to shave your legs for you.
There you go.
Guys earning what, £100,000 a week?
Wax them.
Thank you.
There you go.
Like cyclists.
There you go. Right, and the last one, Darius Vassell.
Darius Vassell, yes.
Darius Vassell, Darius Vassell.
Former Man City and England striker, yes.
Potato, tomato. This one is truly bizarre.
Let's hear it.
This one,
I actually know this one.
Do you?
Go ahead.
I'm so upset.
No, I think I know it. Go ahead.
I'm so upset. So he had a blood blister under his big toenail in 2002. Please don't tell me you know this.
Go ahead.
So it even says here, rather than consult the numerous fully qualified staff at Villa's payroll, he decided to power up his Black & Decker, which is a drill, just by the way.
Yeah, I didn't know this one.
A Black & Decker is a drill, like an actual push nails into a wall drill.
Yeah.
So he decided to fire that up and drill through his nail to drain the blister.
What a moron. What a moron.
But here's the weird part. He only missed 3 matches.
Incredible.
How bizarre.
No, I didn't know that one.
How bizarre.
Yeah, that is bizarre. That's insane. But footballers for you. I'm nuts. That is the most ridiculous. Plus, he's at Aston Villa, one of the biggest football clubs in the world.
At that time.
Yeah, just pop in. They'll strap it up by medical assistants who are the best in the world.
Yeah.
Like, people who work in sports medicine are the best in what they do in the world.
They've trained many years for it.
Decades. You don't get in those, trust me, you don't get in those circles. It's always old women and old guys. It's not 20, 30 years in.
It's not, 4 years, I've got my degree. Yay.
I'm doing my internship.
Yeah.
There's no internship there. There's no sassy 35-year-old guy or girl there. No, get the hell out. It's 30 years in the business, and then we want the best of the best.
There you go. So there you go, kids. If you ever have a blood blister, just fire up your Black & Decker drill.
The lesson is, yeah. That's it, huh? That is the lesson
It's
to
incredible.
take away. Just fire up your drill. Incredible.
Sure.
Darius was. Oh, what did you call him?
I called him Darius Vassell.
Okay, is that what you call him?
What's his actual name? Darius.
Darius. Yeah. Vassal. You called him Darius Vessel, which I liked. I think that was actually better.
But yes, I know I took a whole segment, but yeah, this story about Jean-Pierre Adams actually really intrigued me. It was,
39 years.
39 years in a coma.
So if you were in a coma, what would you do? What would the first thing be that you'd do when you woke up? Like, imagine the world he's waking up to.
You went into a coma in 1982.
Oh my God.
Before YouTube was started, before Apple was started, before Google was started, Netflix.
No, James, you're talking about now. I don't think that was the cassette tape even. I think they were still using vinyls in 1982. When was the when was the cassette tape invented? Let's look
Shall
up
we
that.
have a look?
Because he came into a world where he may not have known that you could put music or audio onto a cassette. Forget about, listen, computer rooms in 1982 would have been literally, there were computer rooms. A room the size of the studio we're in is one computer back then, and the processing power is nothing like the cell phones of today.
So the cassette tape was invented in 1962.
Okay, so he would
So
have
it had been around for 20 years.
yeah. But it would have been like the latest tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no like, there weren't Bluetooth headphones then.
There was no VHS as far
There
as
was
I
no
know.
color television.
Huh.
There was no, like, imagine he woke up today and people have cell phones. Like, remember, back then, James, you used to have to do something called dial into an operator. And I don't even know if that existed then. I don't know. I wasn't around in 1982.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's incredible.
What do you think? What would you do? Wake up from a coma, then what would the first thing?
It's essentially like being born mid-age, right?
be
Because
awesome?
you'd wake up
Yeah.
into this world that is completely different. These days we rely on technology for absolutely everything. He's going to be like, cool, how do I get hold of my wife?
Yeah.
And then, no, so let me just use my iPhone. And he's going to be like, excuse me?
In fact, here's a tracker of your wife. She's currently
Yeah.
downstairs.
Just use my iPhone,
Yeah.
the tracker GPS for iPhones. Here you go. She's downstairs in the canteen eating a toasted sandwich.
Oh, imagine his face when he video called somebody. Are you kidding? That would be. He would probably go back into a coma.
Well, he probably can't even walk. He hasn't been walking for
Yeah,
39 years.
Dystrophy, the muscular dystrophy.
It's
or
like
whatever.
going to space. It is. If you go for an extended trip in space, you can't actually walk properly when you get back.
It's true. It's true. There's
Why did you laugh?
No, there's a lot of compression of the spine. No, it's just. I thought this poor guy. Yeah, but you know, for me, they should just put an astronaut suit on him now.
Put him in an anti-gravity chamber now.
That's it. Yeah,
At the age of 73.
Is like the first man to ever take a nap in space. But do you know what would be incredible? I bet you he'd wake up and you tell him about the internet. You know what? You explain all of it to him. It's like, here's what this massive library, it's got everything, blah, blah, blah. It's at the tip of your fingers. And he'd go, oh my God, have we solved cancer yet? We'd go, no. I'll tell you what we have done, though, is we've got every cat video in the world.
Yeah.
Every cat video. That's what we've done with the internet. People, we've got people having sex on the internet and cat videos.
Yeah.
Imagine how revolted he'd be.
We have a whole website that is solely dedicated to just
Cats. Man, do you have pets?
I do, but they don't live with me.
I don't. Do you know what I like? Dogs. I do not like cats.
I miss my cats.
Oh my goodness, I would. Do you know what I like is owls? You know why? Because owls eat cats. There we go. Those are my thoughts.
Mom, I'm sorry if you're listening.
Yeah, well,
Jeez.
I have said it. Save the owls. All right, so weird injuries, huh, Jimbo?
Weird injuries.
That is crazy.
I'm always into the weirder side of how things operate.
Yeah, you're a weird dude.
I
Nice
am.
guy, but weird guy.
I'm a dope weird dude.
Yeah. So listen, those are that is some weird stuff.
Mm.
That is some weird stuff.
An
39 years.
infected pimple.
Yeah.
39 years in a coma.
Don't drill your pimple,
A whole cow.
as the old saying goes. Do not drill the pimple. All right, let's move on. Let's finish off on this.
Let's do it.
The Liverpool Football Club dilemma. Mo Salah been talking again about leaving, about going to Barcelona or going to Real Madrid. I want to start off on this. You know, very rarely in life are you going to get a chance to leave a relationship and be the good guy. Very rarely. Very, very rarely. Even if you're right, you're a douchebag. Liverpool have this golden chance right now. Because what they need to do is restart the cycle. And in life, we make this mistake all the time, is we value talent over valuable. We make this mistake all the freaking time. Don't mistake talented and valuable. Not everybody who's talented is valuable. You know how I know this? In the Premier League, 28 seasons in, only 9 times the top goal scorer has won the Premier League in 28 seasons. That's not me saying that. That's the stats. So you don't need the guy who's the top goal scorer to win the league. That's rubbish. You don't need that guy. Tell you what you do need is the guy that'll get him the ball, that'll get the team going, that'll fix the team, that'll glue the team together. His name's Sadio Mane. Folks, get the 150 million for Mo Salah now. You can replace him. You cannot replace work ethic, discipline, humility, Sadio Mane. You cannot replace that. The other thing you want to do is, I don't care how much of a Liverpool fan you are, you have to restart the cycle. 4 or 5 are going to have to go. I think you need to admit Thiago doesn't fit in. You need a functional midfield. Mo Salah, again, he's not the cake, he's the icing. You have to be willing to admit that. And stop letting your feelings get into, oh my goodness, he's the top goal scorer. I've just told you, in 28 Premier League seasons, only 9 times has the Golden Boot winner been in the winning team. So you don't need it. It's a nice to have. It's the motorcycle again versus a second property that's bringing you income. Please don't confuse talented and valuable. People do this all the time. Mo Salah is extremely talented. Extremely talented. Sadio Mane is where value lies. He does everything. And lastly, I'll finish off on this before we ask Jimbo, because old Jimmy supports Liverpool here. People always say, how will you replace Mo Salah? Don't worry about it. Jota's here. It's clear to me that Jota is going to get as many goals as Mo Salah. Did you see him before injuries? With limited playing time? Goals aren't going to be your problem. Midfield, centre-back, that's going to be your problem. And I think you might have a keeper whose psychology is broken. That's your problem. Getting goals at Liverpool's not going to be a problem. Don't worry about it. You got Bobby Firmino, you got Sadio Mane, who is insane, and Jota is ready to go. And Jota's ready to go now, by the way. Not like tomorrow, now. Diego Jota is ready to go now. Get the £150 million. And again, don't get emotionally attached to talented. Talent is everywhere. Value is impossible to find. Sadio Mane is a grown-up. He is a grown-up. You don't need to worry about building a team around him. You can build a team around him. And by the way, Sadio Mane is being tied for the top goal scorer award in the league. So don't worry about the goals. He'll get them. And he'll stay fit. Folks, the other thing about Mo Salah, why I'd move on and I wouldn't blink or think twice. He doesn't mind an injury here and there. Sadio Mane is bicentennial, man. He is absolutely, he's the marathon man, right? Talent, value, grown up, build the team around him. Sadio Mane is not nice to have. He is imperative to have. He is everything you want to build a club around. Plus, you got another 5 years. Don't worry about Mane. He's a professional. Mo Salah, not sure with injuries what's going to happen. And by the way, he's icing. He's not the cake. Move on now. Jimbo, what you say?
Sure. Look, I think... So I did see the conversation he had. I think it was with Sky themselves, where he said what's now become a big thing in media about him. You know, he's always looked at the option of Spain. He said something along those lines, but it was very vague. You know, I think it's maybe time to let him go. He's not as prolific as Sadio is. You know, he has his good days, he has his bad days, and it's annoying. At Liverpool Football Club, it is essentially similar to Man City. As a club like Liverpool, you should accept nothing but excellence. And I don't think you should have players on your payroll that are, you know, had a good game against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Scored a goal 3 weeks ago against Chelsea. Cool. I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it. He was great, amazing, but he is getting older.
How would you feel tomorrow morning if you woke up and he'd been sold to Real Madrid for 150 million pounds?
Very anxious, and I'll tell you why. Because I know Liverpool. I know Liverpool Football Club, and it won't be a action stations. We gotta find a replacement. It'll be we'll look, and it's not really a priority for us. But if you sell Salah now, it would also give Liverpool fans, or at least some of them, a little bit of security in the sense that they know they've now got 150 odd minimum to play with. They can go shopping in France with the player that's linked to Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
And has been for a while.
Oh, so you're saying Mbappe to replace Salah?
Oh, he's got speed. He's
Yeah.
young, talented.
Yeah.
I think he would do well in the Premier League.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, with 150 minimum, you can go shopping in Spain, Germany. You can keep it in the Premier League. France has a couple of wild talents. But I think what Liverpool need to do is they can't buy an 18-year-old is going to be wonder kid.
You got to replace him, and you need a banger now.
You need an out-and-out right winger now that can step onto the field and fill the boots. Because when Salah was good, legendary.
He's still a top goal scorer in the league, by the way. You're saying was good as though he died.
I thought it was Aubameyang.
Well, I mean, they're close. I don't know if it did Aubameyang score in the last game.
I think Aubameyang's top by, I think, 1 or 2 goals.
All right. Well, I mean, Salah's still up there.
He's good, but inconsistency is annoying.
Yeah.
And, you need a player that can constantly feed balls to Sadio Mane.
No, Mo Salah at the top, by the way. 17 goals.
Is he really?
Along with Harry Kane, and then it's Bruno Fernandes and Dominic Calvert-Lewin rounding out the top 3. So he's the top goal scorer in the league. Would you miss his goals, do you think? Are you worried? What are you worried about if Salah leaves?
Fast counterattacks. Yeah. Yes, we've got Mane. I don't think Firmino is the fastest football player on the pitch.
No, he links it up nicely, though.
He does.
But what about Jota?
I think he is incredible. He burst onto the scene at Liverpool, got injured, and hasn't returned since.
Hasn't that been a recurring theme, though? Not Alexander Arnold. Trent. Trent's got to go, hey?
Mm-mm.
You like him?
You see, that's the thing with Gareth Southgate also, is that it's a similar mindset to yours. Trent had a relatively good season, the season before last. He had an incredible season last season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. You not every player is Ronaldo. As much as you want them to be,
it's not.
It's not the case. Ronaldo is a twice in a lifetime kind of player, and I say twice because obviously there's Messi. But those are two players that are at the top of their game week in, week out. I think it's natural for players to suffer a dip of form every now and then. Yes, it's hurt us because it's a defensive player, but
All right. So what would you do with the money? Where would you spend it? Would you try and replace? You said you'd get Mbappe, or would you try and spread the love, centre back? What if Virgil comes back and he's not the same?
That's the thing, and I think we do need. Look, I think Joe Gomez, Joel Matip, very good players.
Both love an injury, though. That's
both
clear
love an injury, and I don't think they are brick walls like Jamie Carragher was, or like Vincent Kompany. And I think that's what you need, linking up with Virgil. So yeah, maybe invest in a top quality fullback, and maybe use Jota on the right, because I think he can play right wing also.
He can play anyway. He's sensational.
Exactly. And then, if you go, there's so many routes you can go. If you go that route, you let Jota play right. You buy a 19-year-old. That's when you buy the 19-year-old. That's gonna be, you know what I mean?
Although Jota's had the injuries now.
Ugh. He has had a couple.
and this is a massive one.
Yeah, look, I think we're going to have quite a bit of money to play with in the coming months. Genie Wijnaldum might leave to Barca.
Here's the problem: you're not going to make the Champions League. Or how are you feeling about that? Because that's a real situation.
Where are we now? 6th.
No, you're out of it.
Look, I think it'll be a massive blow as Liverpool Football Club to not make Champions League. But yeah, maybe like you say, we need that reset.
I think it's time to reset. You're 7th. You are 6 points off the top 4. It ain't gonna happen.
I think, especially with our midfield, Naby Keita needs to go.
Injury prone.
Please.
I think 70 million you spent on him.
If he's played 10 games for Liverpool, that's a lot.
Yeah, no. So you're out on him, huh?
Absolutely. Genie Wijnaldum wants 24 million a year.
No, you can go.
Really?
He's a good player, though. He is a good player.
He is, but 24 million a year.
Hey, listen, here's what I said it the other day on the show. We were talking about it, right? Remember we said when they all came, they were kind of like, oh, we're grateful to be here. And you said Jurgen's like a father figure.
Yeah.
But children grow up. You know, when children get a degree and a girlfriend and, you know, and a house and a second property, they don't want to hear what mom's got to say. I can make my own money. I've got my own job. Don't tell me how to run my household. And now Genie Wijnaldum says, excuse me, I'm a Premier League, Champions League champion. You're not going to pay me like I'm the guy from Newcastle you bought who had nothing. And that's tough. You can't keep... Hey, winning gets people paid. You can't keep everybody, I'm afraid.
Sure. I just think he's doing it with the wrong club. I do. I think... remember Emre Can?
I do.
He was in contract disputes with Liverpool for a good while.
Yeah.
And it was because he wanted this, but Liverpool didn't want to give it to him. And it was, again, a money issue. Liverpool's not a club where you can say, okay, cool, I want a Champions League. Can I have... you know, a new 24 million contract. I mean, maybe it's changed now because we've won a Champions League or a Premier League. And I haven't seen a contract dispute since then, up until now with Genie.
Uh-huh.
So maybe they'll give it to him. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I stand by Liverpool. I don't think any player is bigger than the game.
Okay, well, there you have it. So you next season, no Champions League, no Mo Salah. It's going to be tough times for you, James. How are you feeling about that, pal?
Hard.
It's tough.
It's not going to be easy, but we've got to rebuild.
It is tough.
What can you do?
Well, okay, there you have it. If you're a Liverpool fan, tough times. If you're a human being out there, though, I hope you've enjoyed spending it with us. We've made tough times a little easier. Easter weekend coming up. I said it yesterday. I hope we all get to spend some time together. Family, the most important thing on this planet. I've said it.
Correct.
I believe it. It is the most important thing, huh, James?
Yes. Even you see in the comments there, that last one that says no.
Oh, yeah?
That's my mom.
Old Momsy, huh?
With your comment about owls.
On owls.
Yeah.
She's saying, kill the owls. We want to keep the cats.
Yes, she loves cats.
She loves cats. All
She's
right.
a sick cat lady.
Oh, she. All right. There you go. A little insight into Jimbo's life.
There you go.
Cat mom, cat son. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm MKT. Please don't tell people that I hate cats, even though I do. Just tell them that I favor owls, and whatever happens from there, I can't control nature. From a sad Liverpool fan, James Illingsley. James, you are on social media?
I am. James_Ilsley. That's ILSLEY. James_Ilsley on Instagram. Twitter is at ILSLEY James.
Ilsley_James, huh?
Just Ilsley James.
Ilsley James. All right, there you have it. I call him James Illingsley. I think it's an upgrade, Miss Nixon. But Rickson.
You just get these surnames very wrong.
Oh, I can't read. Sorry. Miss Rickson. All right.
Rickson.
Well, to the Ricksons, to you, James, it's been a good one.
It has. It was a good show.
Good stuff, huh? I'm MKT. This is the MKT Show, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an honor. But for today, we are the hell out of here.